Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to present the LSD drug. This presentation is made by Oscar Manuel Yalucasico and me, Maria Manuela Jimenez. The LSD drug is considered an hallucinogenic, which means that it changes the way you sense the world around you. The LSD drug is colorless, tasteless, and odorless. It can be ingested by small squares of paper that people lick or swallow. The main name of this drug is called lysergic acid diethylamide. The LSD drug has many names. It may be called acid, battery acid, Bluetooth, boomer, California sunshine, seed, doses, dots, golden dragon because of the hallucinations, heavily blue, hippie, Looney Tunes because of the paper squares that are licked or swallowed, Lucy in the Sky, Microdot, Pain, Purple Heart, Superman, Tap, Window Pane, Yellow Sunshine, and Zen. The LSD drug has many ways to ingest. Some of them are powder form, capsules, it can be injected, and also it can be licked and swallowed through small papers. This drug is taken into small quantities and not big. If it is ingested a big amount, may cause death. The LSD drug may cause many physical effects. Some systematic effects is the increase of temperature. In the pupils, it causes dilation. In the skin, it produces sweating. In the mouth, it causes dryness. It causes high blood pressure. It causes the heart rate to increase. It causes numbness, weakness, and tremors. And in the gastric area, it causes nausea. The LSD drug causes many things. A person using LSD might feel relaxed and more sociable. It is also known as a trip. On the other hand, bad trips are quite possible, meaning that a person becomes frightened and panicky. But the person panics, there is no escape from the altered universe he finds himself in. The LSD creates sensory perception that is interpreted as an expansion of consciousness or a religious experience that transcends a normal boundaries of awareness and existence. It may cause delusions, visual hallucinations, an artificial sense of euphoric certainty, distortions of one's sense at a time and identity. It also causes impaired time perception, distort perception of the size and shape of objects, movement, color, sense, touch, and the other user's known body image, panic attack, fear of losing control, flashback, and also severe depression and psychosis. This was found in an article made by a person which ingested LSD and she's telling all her experiences.
Fun facts. Intestine can absorb the lysergic acid, or also known as LSD, even though to have a better drink or trip, it is recommended to put it on the tongue. A normal to intense trip is about 250 to 150 micrograms. Because of the quickly dissolved, it can be absorbed on many different ways, as beverage or even food. Doctors and experts recommend not to eat before ingesting the LSD. And finally, it is recommended to wait before ingesting a trip for 1 or 3 months. Another fun fact is that the LSD is made from fungus called ergot, found normally in bread. And they discovered the psychoactive effects when the mathematician and also biologists decided consciously to take less than a milligram of this fungus. And there is a phrase that is known by the people that ingest the LSD that is from Laura Huxley, that was one dying almost with cancer. The husband take a pill, a trip of LSD, and finally she said the most beautiful death. Some implications are that affect dopamine receptors, adrenergic receptors, and serotonin receptors. implications are that affect dopamine receptors, adrenergic receptors, and serotonin receptors. The serotonin are the ones that especially sought for hallucinations and is a neurotransmitter that affects your mood, feelings, and sleep patterns. The American scientists decided that there is no link between LSD and mental health. It's hard to continue with a normal life because of the physical effects, as seeing everything is moving as objects. It means that they can see deformed some bodies or their own body. The emotions change drastically, meaning that humans can attack or suicide between them, leading to situations such as murders. It can also create loss of appetite and sleep for several weeks, and some of the effects of uh, a bad trip is when you have fear about some things at the time when you are ingesting the LSD, and the effects can affect more your nervous system and can increase the time you are drugged. Some of the effects are an artificial sense of euphoria or certainty, distortion of one's sense of time and identity, severe terrifying thoughts.
As mentioned before, the LSD may affect the dopamine receptors. It also may affect your mood, and among many years, it might be dangerous. Some people also confuse the LSD from cocaine, and also the American scientists decide that there is no link between the LSD and the mental health, as said before by Jaluka. Here is a chart in which you are able to see that 20% had no effect, that it was very positive, it had a 30%. It had a 24% that it was somewhat positive, and a mix and post negative had a 19%. Then the somewhat negative had a 0.3, then the very negative have also a zero point 0.3, and the don't know have a 0.4.
As you may know, LSD is a drug that can give out several responses from abuse and consumption. It critically affects the user's mental state in different manners by having good or bad trips, which can result in excessive mental instability, making this drug psychologically addictive. Very often, people who abuse these drugs' consumption are very likely to eventually become depressive and anxious in the future, along with changing reality perception. These long terms These long-term effects may lead to death, and some social implications are, um, as these drugs affect the mental states in critical manners, abusive consumption of these may affect the brain functions associated with social interactions and instant emotional changes within the user, also affecting the perception of reality, which can confuse the user and impulse it on doing dangerous activities such as suicidal actions, crimes, etc. Also, as the drugs gives the user spontaneous trips, they may be good or pleasure trips and bad and traumatizing trips. Often, when the users receive good trips, they find the experience very pleasurous, making them want to repeat the good trips, leading to more consumption of the drug, making it psychologically addictive. As these trips may be good or bad, often the users that experience the traumatizing trips are more probable to fall in depression and hopelessness. By making the drug psychologically addictive, illegal distributors may find it pertinent to amplify the production of LSD in the black market, making it more accessible to the rest of the society, also selling it with higher prices for a higher demand. This drug can also affect the emotional state of many users, as it was mentioned previously. These emotional changes may produce violent and depressive reactions among other users, increasing the possibility of murders and suicides. This can increase a community's in mortality rates, crime rates, the amount of people involved in rehabilitation centers, and evidently, the production and distribution of LSD.
The LSD drug alters the mental state, changes the perception of reality. It has socially addictive, it causes depression and hopelessness. It also has a higher demand on the black market as said before, and it increases mortality rates in people in rehabilitation centers and the demands on the drug. Here also you may find the references we used.